So 2 questions that we get a lot are, who are the kids that the Coffee Oasis cares for? And how does the Coffee Oasis care for kids? Now, common ground for us all is that the best place for every child to be is with a safe and loving family. Right? Can we say that? The best place for a child to be is with a safe and loving family. And we have kids that come to the Coffee Oasis sometimes who have a safe and loving family, but for one reason or another, it could be an addiction they're wrestling with. It could be something that's happening in their head and they don't know how to control that, and they're acting out, and it creates a separation between them and their family. We do have those kids. Now, the majority of the kids, though, are coming in and they have no family, nobody to go home to at night, as Angel so perfectly said. Like, man, and even Tim was saying, like, they're hoping their parents will step up and be the parents. They would love to have that safe and loving family, but the Coffee Oasis gets to be in this beautiful and vulnerable place where we get to help them experience a taste, maybe just a little taste of a safe and loving family. And so, who does the Coffee Oasis care for? Kids who are 13 to 17 in our shelter, but all the way up to 25 in our drop-in center that opened this year. That's the very simple answer, but hidden within that question, who does the Coffee Oasis care for, often is a question that a lot of us don't know how to ask, which is, does the Coffee Oasis care for people like me? People who look the way I do, the people who identify the way I do, the people who believe the way I do. Do people like me come to the Coffee Oasis? And my answer to that question is, you'd be surprised the people that drink coffee these days. In all seriousness, those who walk through our doors to the coffee shop and those who come through our shelter door are people with all sorts of histories, beliefs, ways they look. The beautiful thing about a coffee shop, that name Coffee Oasis, is you just assume I belong there. I can be there. That's the Coffee Oasis. Now, how does the Coffee Oasis care for kids who are coming in with no place to call home and no people to call family? Well, there are 6 things that we assume of every youth when they come in, and I want to share those things with you. The first is this, that every child wants to belong somewhere, right? We assume that. Every child wants to belong somewhere. Every child, everybody wants people to belong to. Right? You want a place to call home. You want people to call family. Some other things we assume, though, are that our kids want to go to school, which might surprise you. Sometimes you think of kids on the street, and you already heard it from Angel. And actually, last week I met with the Bremerton school superintendent who was here last year, wishes he could have been here, but he had an event tonight. He was homeless on the streets of Bremerton back when the Coffee Oasis was getting started. Isn't that crazy? And he is now the Bremerton school superintendent. Now, our paths didn't cross back then, but he was a kid that people had counted out until 2 teachers took notice of him. But one thing I learned from him, he goes, last year, the reason why I support Coffee Oasis so much is you described who I was. I was a kid that had no place to call home and no people to call family, but I wanted to go to school. And not only did he go to school, but he is now the superintendent of the Bremerton School District. Amazing. Our kids do want to go to school. Our kids want jobs. They do. They're not looking to grow up and just get cared for by a system. They deeply want jobs because they want to care for people like they wanted to be cared for. Our kids want someone to show them the way. That is something we assume of our kids. They're not coming in rebellious like you'd imagine. Sometimes they're pushing back because they're wondering, are you someone I can trust to show me the way? And lastly, our kids want a safe place to lay their head at night. Now, our programs are oriented around that. We have what we call youth engagement. We do outreach in the schools and on the streets. It's It's a big part of our work. We're not assuming you build it, they'll come. We assume you invite them, they'll come. So we go and want them to know you belong here. There's people to belong with. We have a youth drop-in center in Tacoma that's hopping now. It's a place for people to belong. We have what we call youth development, which is our job training program. You've heard about that tonight. Helping kids who want jobs, kids who want to re-engage with their education. They can be a part of our case management. We do that. So kids come in and they're like, I want to be here. I am here. How do I get there? We have people that will show them the way. And a place to lay their head at night. We have our shelter. Now, before you think we're heroes, and it's all easy, when I say a safe place to lay their head at night, I want you to know that something I think about, and my wife will tell you this every night we go to sleep, is that I have staff that are doing very unsafe work. It is not safe work to be a safe place for other people all the time. The work of compassion, which literally means to help carry the suffering of other people, is not safe work. It's hard work. It's hard work when people are coming in with their hurts and hurts that have been developed over time, and that hurt oftentimes expresses itself in hurting other people, testing other people. So, the third question is, how do we keep caring? And I want to share this little story with you that Jesus told. It's called the story of the prodigal son. And this is the way it goes. Simple story. 3 characters in it. The first is a little brother. He's the prodigal son. And he's the guy that our kids relate with. That's not a surprise to you, right? It's the son that went away, tested all the boundaries, broke all the boundaries set for him, and he was so far away, he wondered if he ever could come home. The older brother's the one that stayed home, did what was right, and the father is the one who keeps the door open. It's literally the role of the father, keeping the door open. Now, why I want to share this story with you, how do we keep caring, is that many of us, even myself, assume that we are like the father. Right? In our minds, we think, if they just walked in, if one of these youth walked up to me, I would just be ready to open the door for them. But I see it over and over again in me, in people that come in to volunteer, and I say me, I'll just keep saying me, is how quickly I'm the older brother and I don't know how to, I'm okay, Mary. I'm just walking, I'm living on the edge. How quickly anger comes up in us when we're tested. How when a youth who comes in who is asking, is this a place I can belong? Are you people I can belong to? And yet they are responding with anger because they have been responded to with anger so many times. And who are we? So often the older brother. So when I say the Coffee Oasis, our ambition is to create a safe place for kids, it is literally every day we wake up, every day we work, is to try to embrace the heart of the Father, which is keeping a door open. No matter how many times. And I'm going to share a story with you that illustrates this. I was on a Zoom call with Julie recently. She's the hero of Tacoma over there, our area director. And she was sharing the story of some of our young men who stayed in the shelter who burglarized a gas station or a convenience store. And they stabbed the clerk. This is unsafe work, right? We can talk in generalities or very specific. This happened. And Julie's response was this. Knowing that justice will be done, knowing we won't see these guys for a long time. They might be locked up for a long time. And this is what she said. She goes, my first response was I just really wanted to hug them. That's just keeping the door open. That's not justifying their actions. That's knowing the hurt they'll be done when they come out. They need someone to hug them. They need someone to keep the door open. But you know how many of us in the room, when we heard about that, we were the older brother immediately, like justice. And that's true. There are consequences for our actions. But will we keep the door open when they come back? And that is exactly what the Coffee Oasis wants to do. So pray for us that we will keep doing this. Pray for us that will be our response. And help us do that. Because who is the Coffee Oasis? It is us here. Let's keep the door open for those kids. And my last thing I want to tell you is if you need someone to have the door open for you, the door is open for you too. Not just to buy coffee, please do that, but to come in and be a part of this community. We want to keep the door open for you as well. Love you guys. Thank you so much.